My name is Patricia Richardson, and I was born July 21st, 1933, in Clinton, North Carolina. I do basket making, beadwork, pottery. No matter what I make, I try to make one of a kind. I love colors. Even if I'm drawing the woods, I see the little yellow flower back in the back where nobody else sees, and you know, I like to get that, or I like to see that, and this. When I start this in the center, I never know what it's going to be. As I go, my design comes to my head. As I go. To make this rosette, you have to have a needle, thread, and beads, and a piece of material to sew the beads on. Once you get the beads sewed on, then you have to put leather on the back of it. So when I sew the beads on and putting the backing on, I add the edging at the same time. Very time consuming because you're having to sew down every 2 beads. The way I do it and the way I teach it is I put on 4 beads at the time. I sew them down. I sew back in between the 2nd and the 3rd bead and go out the 3rd bead into the 4th bead. Then you put 4 more beads on. A white oak tree is a very good tree to use for basket making. So you find your tree, you cut it down. You split it wide open, then you put it in force. And inside of the white oak tree, you know, it's like layers of material. So you have to rip them out. The layers of the wood, you rip them out. Then you take a knife and you shave them down. You whittle them. You whittle them down until they're thin so that you can bend them. But all this time you need to keep water on them. You need to keep them damp and wet so that they'll bend without breaking. And once you get them thin enough, then you can do your basket weaving then. You cut your splints, your heavy splints, as long as you want them for your basket. If you're making a big basket or a little basket, you know what size to cut them. And then you just start weaving. And you get the bottom, and then you turn up the side, and then you weave around, and you build it up. I'll clay show you that from the ditch bank. And we would use the clay right in our field, you know, from the ditch bank or that. But now you buy the clay. It's already fixed up. It has no grit in it or anything. You buy the clay, you get a piece of the clay, and you pound it to make sure that the air is out of the clay. And then you start forming your bottom. What you can do is you can mash it down and then just form it with your hands. Or if nowadays we have little wheels, little plastic wheels you can put it on too. But I'm talking about before we had any of that kind of stuff. You just form your clay, and then you make coils. We do coil pots, and we do pinch pots. Sometimes you can just take a wad of clay and start pinching inside and rubbing inside, and before you know it, you'll have a little pot like this. But if you want to make something big, you usually do the coils, and you roll them out in a long coil, and you put them on top of each other and work them in. Work that clay together in. And of course, making a pot too, most of the time, all the pots will come out kind of different. Everything has to be a little different. Then you know that it's not taken from something else. It's done from the mind and the hands. A long time ago, every household would be making baskets or be making pottery or doing things like that. Necessary things, necessary things they would be making. And today, it's just only done by, certain people. A lot of people don't even want to learn how to do it because it's too much work. I think all of our traditions are important to pass down. Even our cooking traditions, to me, are important to pass down. I think it's important for our youngsters to know about our culture.